Direct variation, Foundations of Math 2, Unit 3, direct and inverse. Direct variation is a constant, it's an equation, linear equation, where k is the constant of variation. It always goes through the origin and is always linear. Typically, it is just a word problem, and we're going to set this up where k is the constant of variation. So anytime it says it varies directly with something else, that's your x value. So the amount of money spent at the gas station, the amount of money spent, varies directly with the number of gallons purchased. So my money spent equals k times my gallons purchased. K is always there. When 11.5 gallons of gas was purchased, the cost was $37.72. So I'm going to set up my equation to determine k, my constant of variation. So my cost, $37.72, is going to equal k times the number of gallons I purchased, which was 11.5. Divide both sides by 11.5. 37.72 divided by 11.5 is 328. So my k is 328. What this means in this context is that gas is $3.28 per gallon. The constant of variation in the equation, determine k, the constant of variation, and the equation that represents this situation. So whenever it's asking you for the equation, you're just plugging that into the equation you came up with. M equals 328G. That is my equation. Number 2, the number of bricks laid varies directly with the amount of time spent. If 45 bricks are laid in 65 minutes, determine the equation that represents this situation. Also determine the time it would take to lay 500 bricks. So the number of bricks laid varies directly with the amount of time spent. So my bricks is going to equal k times my time spent. I have 45 bricks in 65 minutes. So 45 goes in for B. Trying to find k, my t is 65. Divide both sides by 65. 45 divided by 65, negative fraction, is 9/13. So my k equals 9/13. Determine the equation. So my equation is b equals 9/13 times t. Now it says to determine the time it would take to lay 500 bricks. So I'm plugging this in for b. So I have 500 equals 9/13 t. To undo multiplication by fraction to get t by itself, you multiply both sides by the reciprocal. Those cancel, and you have 13 over 9 times 500, which is 722.2 minutes, is what we're talking about, because earlier it was in minutes. So to find that in hours, I can divide that by 60 because there are 60 minutes in an hour. So that would be about 12 hours. That's direct variation. Joint variation is when there's more than one thing that it varies with. So it's the same as direct variation, you just have 2 more variables with your k. The cost C of materials for a deck varies jointly with the width and the length. So my equation is C equals K times WL. If C equals this when W and L equal that, we have to come up with our equation so we can find the cost when the width is 10 and the length is 25. So first I'm going to plug in my original information here and to solve for my K. 12 times 16 is 192, so I have 470.40 equals 192K. Divide both sides by 192. And you get 245. So now my equation is C equals 2.45 WL. So to find the cost, when the width is 10 and the length is 25, I just plug that in. C equals 2.45 times 10 times 25. So I take that and I multiply it by 10 and 25. And my cost is, we're in dollars, $612.50. Another joint variation problem. The value for real estate B varies jointly with the neighborhood index N and the square footage S. So that's our equation. B equals K times NS. I have V equals this when N equals this and S equals that. So I can find my constant of variation that way. So 376,320 equals K times 96 times 1600. 96 times 1600 is 153,600. So now I'm going to divide both sides to find my K by 153,600. 376,320 divided by 153,600 is 2.45 again. Weird. So now my equation is V equals 2.45 NS. Find the value of a property V with N equals 83 and S equals 2150. So V equals 2.45 times 83 times 2150. And you get, we're in dollars again, $437,202.50. Inverse variation is the only thing that's a little different than joint and direct. Inverse variation, your constant is still in the numerator, but your variable goes in the denominator. So the time it takes to travel a fixed distance varies inversely with the speed. So my time, K, is always on my numerator divided by my speed. If Pam takes 40 minutes, that's my time, to to the secret fishing spot at 9 miles per hour. So that's my speed. So I have 40 equals K over 9. What is the equation that represents this situation? So I'm going to multiply both sides by 9, and you should get K equals 360. So my equation is going to be T equals 360 over S. How long will it take if she rides 12 miles per hour? So that's her S. So T equals 360 divided by 12, and you should get T equals 30, and we're in minutes because we were 40 minutes here, 30 minutes. And the last one, the volume of a gas kept at a constant temperature varies inversely as the pressure. So the volume varies inversely as the pressure. V equals K divided by P. If the pressure is 24 psi and the volume is 15 cubic feet, I need to create my equation. Volume is 15 equals K divided by my pressure, which is 24. Multiply both sides by 24. 15 times 24 is 360 again. That's just weird. So my equation is V equals 360 over P. It's not always going to be the same like this. Don't bank on that. What will be the volume when the pressure is 30? So V equals 360 divided by 30. And that happens when the volume is 12, and we were talking in cubic feet. So feet cubed.